Welcome back to the Dean Obeidallah Show. We're live here Friday, May 16th, and it's third hour, which means it's time for What Just Happened. And it's Arab Power Hour. We have 3 3/4 Arabs on this hour of radio, which is a record, I think. First, 100% Arab, direct from Iraq. Reem Edan is back, Iraqi-American comedian. She was just in Iraq, which I don't think I've ever said in my life. Content creator, award-winning writer. She's been to the New York Arab American Comedy Festival. Very popular on Instagram with the kids. Reem, good to see you. How's everything?
Oh, everything's great now that I'm back in the free states of, are we free anymore? I'm not even sure, but everything's
No.
good.
We'll talk about Iraq. Also, my partner, Maysoon Zayid, a comedian, activist, co-creator of the New York Arab American Comedy Festival, myself, author of the book Shiny Misfits, appeared on tons of TV shows, headlines all over the US, Canada, and the Middle East, where she just got back from the Middle East all over. Maysoon, good to see you.
Yeah, I just got back from Palestine. So you have Palestine and Iraq. What does the man named Pete have for us?
He has a mid-level New York somewhere. And also joining us, Pete Dominick. You know him, Stand Up with Pete Dominick, a very popular podcast, which I've been on. Comedian, appeared on countless TV shows. You got to subscribe to his Substack. And he gave me a statement to read. I have to thank Pete for his guidance and support, because without him, I'd be nothing. Really, I'd be nothing. You underline nothing. Did I hit that hard enough? Nothing? I'd be nothing.
Well done,
Pete
sir.
Dominick. Pete is here. I just want to thank Pete sincerely. I always do this. Because Pete, you've actually helped Glenn Kirshner and me a lot. I'm not kidding. We've talked about that. You told Glenn about the Patreon and the subscriber, and you told me to do a newsletter a few years ago, and I did that, and it's changed my life for the better, and I owe you a percentage, but nope, not getting it. Good to see you.
Great to see all of you guys, and it's always an honor, buddy. And I like to create opportunities for Arab people as much as possible.
Did you say Arab people?
Yeah.
You did say Arab people. You use Arab people. Wow, that's kind of interesting. All right, so
Muslim people, Arab people, brown people, anybody but the white.
Stop. We're gonna have to go to HR right after this. This is ridiculous. This is
People of alt.
Mostly, I try to create opportunities for South Afrikaners to come to this United States and spread their seed.
They've been through a genocide. Would you stop it? It's not funny. We saved 49 of them this week because we were low on white people. I'm not kidding. Trump was just saying it's a white genocide. I'm like, you're just quoting white supremacists for fun now, aren't you? Let's talk about the Middle East, because Reem and Maysoon were just back from the Middle East. Donald Trump is flying back right now. The guy who wanted to ban Muslims, who said Islam hates us, who said Muslims cheered in New Jersey on 9/11, couldn't be happier to be saluted, it's celebrated, and business deals with the same Muslims he was going to ban. And there's so much money he was going to make. Maysoon, let me start with you, because this is interesting, isn't it? Donald Trump is transactional, even in bigotry. Just a remarkable individual.
So Dean and we had this conversation months ago, and I said Donald Trump is easier to buy than Kamala Harris is. And while they were both garbage, genocidal maniacs, and, one of them is a convicted felon and, outward friggin' racist, she was also a supremacist. It was like supremacist palooza.
She was a black supremacist?
I said to you, we can buy him, right?
Right.
And so as we started to buy him, and he started being like, Bibi who, and ghosting Bibi, and Bibi didn't even know. And then he looked at Bibi and he literally told him, you can't sit with us. He didn't even go visit him. He didn't even send drunk Pete to go pee in the, sea by Haifa. But what really disgusted me was not the fact that we were able to buy him. I was happy that we were able to buy him, because America, the entire Middle East is an American settlement. We've got like Disney, and we have Tim Hortons, which is Canada, but we're taking that too. The Middle East is already a settlement. For
military bases everywhere.
And I think that Donald Trump got there and he was like, wait, I own all of this shit anyway. Why am I hanging out with the guy who doesn't give me anything, who brings his laundry to America because he's so freaking cheap? He washes his laundry in America, when I can get a $400 million palace and then have another country who shall not be named because I love working there, have a bunch of dancing girls with like waving hair in the land of hijab.
I didn't see that.
Suddenly that's our history that I knew nothing about, having spent my entire friggin' life there. But what's disgusting, Dean, if there's anything left to be disgusting, is that all these Arab leaders sat there and deep-throated and gave all this gold and money and women and planes, while they did not demand that the Americans stop the senseless slaughter in Gaza. We
Right.
had one of the worst, darkest, most nightmarish nights in our lives last night in Gaza. And the Arabs are rolling out purple carpets and matching the blues too and dancing. And MBS is like, love, love, heart, heart. And Trump is like, love, love, heart, heart. And then he goes to the mosque and Sheikh Zayed doesn't take off his stinky ass shoes, and they get nothing. They get nothing. They bow down like a bunch of just scumbags, and they couldn't even get one night ceasefire to give break to these people starving to death in Gaza while they give this man everything.
That's a great point. And I think it makes the bigger point that the Arab leaders, some may or may not care about the Palestinians, but they don't care that much. They care about business interests and making money. And that's what's going on. The people in the street, I think, care a lot more. Reem, like you were in the Middle East, you were in Iraq. Tell us what is Iraq like, and how come Trump didn't go visit Iraq on this trip? They don't have any palaces or planes or camels to give him?
Well, there's nothing left to steal, so there's really nothing left to do for him there. Honestly, so I've been back. I was born in the United States. I went back to Iraq in the year 2000, so just a year before shit really hit the fan. And then I had been back for 25 years. And I actually just wrote a new bit about it. I was like, a lot's changed over the last 25 years. There's been the collapse of infrastructure, a war, a corrupt government, and that's just in the United States.
Right.
So, but it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing to see how far they've come over the last 25 years. They're fully rebuilding. There's 5-star restaurants. There's a booming travel industry. There's investments. It's crazy. It felt almost like Dubai before it was Dubai. It felt like Dubai back in 2004. There's a lot of money being funneled into Iraq right now. And, even the people who are living there, there's this idea of everyone just being war stricken and poor. And there really isn't a lot of that. I mean, there is still a scar on the people and on the country, but people are thriving. They're back in numbers.
Well, people are resilient by nature if they give the opportunity. They're not, if they have an opportunity to rebuild, they're going to. I mean, you wonder what happens in Gaza, but it's interesting. So, Pete, what about you? Have you been to the Middle East?
I'm not resilient.
He's not resilient.
It's being funneled in. This is on purpose. They are making Iraq, Syria, all of this an American playland, a Western playland. Westerners won't come to the broken country that has gone to shit anymore. This is the new America. So when you go to Iraq, when you go to the Emirates, the vibe is Western. The dress is Western. The money flowing in, like she said, is flowing into a broke, war-torn people who had everything stolen. They are building the new U.S. settlement.
I will say, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, Reem. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, it's shocking to see, when I first went, there was an embargo. So obviously they didn't have things we think of as very normal. I remember mozzarella cheese. I was trying to explain to them how cheese can melt and is stringy, and they had no clue. And then this time around, they were 5-star restaurants. It was a whole thing.
So Pete, counterpoint, go. No, I'm kidding. There's no counterpoint. So you argue for American hegemony. You argue for American settlements across the Middle East. Why is it good for us, Pete, Dominick? No, so Pete, what's your take on watching Trump in the Middle East? He's openly doing business deals. The Wall Street Journal had a really good article earlier this week. The 3 countries he went to, Trump Inc., the company he owns and profits from, all made deals with the royal families and the sovereign funds of all those countries, crypto, golf courses, condos, all of it. This was less foreign policy and visiting his business partners. That's really what this trip was.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't think I could say anything that people haven't observed already about his behavior, the transactional nature of this visit, the fact that it's his first international visit, the quid pro quos, the plane that's never going to fly, the golf course investment, the attorney general who used to work for Qatar before they made a deal with Qatar. I think what's fascinating, because I'm old enough to remember the Obama administration, which I covered at SiriusXM and at CNN and in depth, and to see Trump with the support of Republicans, electeds, and the conservative public going to these countries, having conversations with these countries at all. I mean, let's not forget Saudi Arabia's role in 9/11 and the fact that Saudi Arabia has always been kind of a pariah because of their human rights violations, as well as some of the other Arab states. Not to mention our war in Iraq and the invasion of that, Afghanistan as well. This week, we saw the import of 49 white people who we want to spread their seed, the whites, and the export of Afghans who helped us in Afghanistan and Cameroonians. It's such a confusing thing for people to watch. Just remember, if Democrats and Obama did any of these things, had any of these conversations, they already thought he was a secret Muslim. He could have never made these deals because Republicans would never let him make these deals, but they'll let Trump do whatever he wants, including, lower drug prices and create all kinds of socialistic tenets and ideas. He can do it. Democrats never could have any of these conversations, visits, or anything else.
Absolutely true. I'm chatting with Reem Edan, Maysoon Zayid, and Pete Dominick. So Maysoon, about the jet from Qatar. Chris Hayes had a good segment last night on MSNBC. The plane, it was 13 years old, has high maintenance costs. They've been trying to sell it. No one will buy it. So the Qataris shrewdly said, let's give it as a gift to Donald Trump. And so Chris Hayes said, the Qatari family found a sucker to pawn it off on. And for them, it's a win-win. They get it off the books and they make a closer friend with Donald Trump. That's kind of remarkable when I looked at it that way, because the plane has just been sitting there. No one's been using it.
No one will buy it. It's
right.
A piece of trash. He's trash. He's nouveau riche. He likes trashy things. And, mabruk. That's all I have to say. And all the people who are like, oh, we're so worried about security. Don't worry about security. That plane is much more secure than anything I've flown in or out of Newark. Like, I'm actually considering
somebody compared this whole plane deal to the whole Cars for Kids charity.
Right. Your clunkers for the kids, you give it.
So this is what it is. You're at Newark Airport.
I disagree with you.
What?
Biden did so much of this shit. Biden opened all of the doors. All of the doors. The only reason that Trump gets to come in here and do all the crap that he's doing right now is because Joe Biden's crinkly ass leg kicked open that door, because he started the last year of his presidency just running wild with executive orders, circumventing Congress, doing whatever the frick he wanted so that he could provide everything he wanted for this genocide. He lost the votes. He lost the White House. He lost the Senate. He signed order after order after order, sending arms to this place without congressional consent. The second that you start saying, I don't care about Congress and I don't care what Congress says, and I'm not going to expand the courts, and I'm not going to sign any orders to protect anything that could be decimated by this next group, and you allow this next group to walk into the White House, you're the one who created.
But I mean,
stopping him because we couldn't stop the Democrats. The people took to the streets, couldn't stop the Democrats. They did whatever they wanted, opposite what the people said, and they opened the door for this chaos.
But it's not the same. It's not at all the same. It's not. This is transactional in nature personally for Trump and his family throughout all of the Arab world. Everything you said, I think, is true of what the Biden administration did to create opportunities, open doors, and give Israel whatever they wanted, basically, which Trump, by the way, doesn't have to do. And again, the double standard. But this was the Biden family didn't get planes and golf courses and investments in
the next family can.
$2 billion.
Open the door. That's it.
It was not even close to the same. Maysoon, it's not the same with corruption. And by the way, just so you know, to be clear, Congress authorized the funding of the weapons for Israel. Joe Biden didn't create that. Congress, Democrats voted for it, a small number, and a lot of Republicans voted for it. And a lot of times it was part of bigger bills. So Joe Biden wasn't going like, I'm going to spend $20 billion that Congress didn't allocate. Donald Trump has signed executive orders to rewrite the 14th Amendment. Like, this is a whole different world. Joe Biden supported Netanyahu, left and protected him. I agree with that. But to me,
Congress has helped. Yeah, like, don't blame it.
If there's ever a Democrat again, they can now do this. This is it. Now
possible.
The transactional country. That's it.
And you're right. The next Democratic president, they could look, to Pete's point, if a Democrat did what Trump did, the Republicans will go crazy, even though Trump did the exact same thing. It doesn't matter. We call out their hypocrisy for our own sanity. Because if you don't, nothing means anything anymore. Black is white and white is black and nothing. Like, we just call out their hypocrisy to keep I'm not kidding. I call it their hypocrisy not to change them, just so that we live in a world that something means something. Yeah. We're like, this is just effed up.
Stopping him.
What?
Who of the Democrats that were
stopping Joe Biden?
It's stopping
I
Donald
mean,
Trump.
Donald Trump. No, look, that's a whole, we can have that conversation. That's a different thing. And I don't know, the question is, what do you do for them? And Pete is obsessed with the 49 Afrikaners who came into America. So
They're here to spread their seed.
is that, by the way, so people don't know, this is completely true. So Donald Trump has banned refugees from everywhere and now the new refugee program, Pete, apparently is a picture of the White House and says you have to be this white to get in the country. They have it, it's like you have to be this tall.
Match the facade.
So the South Africans matched it. And so Trump expedited getting white people in to make his base happy, at the same time ending temporary protected status for people from Afghanistan who serve with our military, whose lives are at risk, and had banned essentially the refugee program before this. So now we're importing white people because we're low on white people. That's what happened. They're like, where are we going to go? So Reem, I mean, I don't know. Is there a benefit to that? I don't know how I can monetize this and make it, should we be buying things that white people need because they're going to bring them into the country here? What do we do?
I mean, I think there's absolutely a benefit to importing white people because the birth rate is down. So if we can just get them from other countries and, consider that migrant labor, I don't know. This just feels very like snake eating its own tail.
White migrant labor. So white South Africans in the fields working hard.
Well, if we're going to deport all the Mexicans, we need someone to do the labor.
That's
so it just feels poetic.
So Maysoon, what about the
spare South Africa from their nasty racist asses? It's nice that we're giving South Africa a break from 50 acids.
That's why Trump's doing it. Trump said today on the plane again, he actually said it's a genocide. He goes, and I don't care they're white. He actually said those words. He goes, I would care about anyone going through a genocide. And we're like, pause. No. He literally said, I would care about anyone who's suffering like this and suffering through a genocide. Like, you're arming one in Gaza. We know it. Like, that's the hypocrisy. We just call up because we have to for our own sanity.
Just to be clear, the white South Africans that they're importing are not necessarily good people. That's one of them. It's just come out, New York Times reporting. One of them, Charlie Kleinhaus is his name. I call him Old Charlie, Dean. He wrote
Charlie
a post that Jews were, quote, untrustworthy and a dangerous group, and that they are not God's chosen. So like we're kicking out those who are critical of Israel in an essay, students who are here visiting or professors, but we're bringing in guys who tweet about Jews. Terrible. Like, that's important.
We were low on anti-Semites, apparently. So we were, so we got to bring in, this guy will be a high-ranking guy in MAGA in a year. They're going to we love this guy. Charlie Kirk's going to have him on. They're going to be, maybe Gavin Newsom will even interview him. You never know. That's, how Gavin does it now. I'm going to have someone I disagree with on. I'm going to find the worst. So yes, they actually brought in a guy who's truly anti-Jewish, because anti-Semitism is too big of a term at this point. He's anti-Jewish. He doesn't like Jews. They brought the guy in. They go, we vetted him. It was on Twitter. What was your vetting?
But Twitter is owned by Elon Musk. So really.
Right. So who is a South African? He's like, I love this guy. I retweet his stuff all the time.
So he was just supporting our main leader of the country this time.
So it's kind of remarkable to see that, Pete. That's an excellent point. And is this topic really been this week a big topic for you on your show? Like,
yeah, it has. I've thought a lot about and covered the Afghan war in a lot of ways. I talked to a lot of people who were there and journalists, expert scholars, Afghans, and thinking about all those Afghans. I know a lot of people that live in America who are Afghan, sending them out, sending them back to Cameroon and sending them back to Afghanistan where they're in sure danger. While importing these white South Afrikaners who are surely racist because of their I'm just going to say it. And that juxtaposition to me, it just has hung around all week. I try to every week pick something to allow myself to ruminate on as opposed to jumping to every single thing. And to me, that juxtaposition was so telling of what we are. It was one of the most overt white supremacist things, because you're importing these and exporting those on the same day, Dean. It really was upsetting. And I thought a lot about it for sure.
It's kind of interesting to see that play out in real time. There's no subtlety. I just talked to Barry Tunney Thurston yesterday. You guys know Barry Tunney?
Yeah.
He likes his racism a little bit more creative and clever than this. He goes, this is so in your face. But look, I mean, Reem, on some level, on the right, they kept saying, Democrats, we're bringing in brown people and we're trying to change the demographics of the country. So on their side, they love this because it's just evening it up. It's just 49 people, but it's evening it up. So this is their great unreplacement theory? I mean, how do you switch this around?
Yeah.
The great.
I don't know if this is like boy math, girl math, or racist math, but the math ain't mathing. It just doesn't make any sense. The fact that we're exporting and then importing the complete opposite, it just doesn't. But I'm adding it to the tally of shit that's not making any sense in America right now.
Is there a tariff on white people, or did he get rid of that? I mean, is there like
what I've done is I try to teach the new white people to play lacrosse, a great white sport we stole from brown people.
That would would be so great if all these Afrikaners become citizens in a few years and then become all Democrats. You know, like look what they did. They brought them in and they were Democrats.
The Afrikaners are like the Qatari plane. They're just being freaking dumped into America because nobody wants them. That's why we have them.
And others in South Africa didn't want to come here. And Trump's claim it's genocide's a lie, by the way. There's no facts. He literally said, I'm not kidding. He goes, you won't even read about it in the paper, but it's happening there. I'm like, so you've literally made up a story. And then you're saying you can't fact check it. If you Google it, you're not going to see it because I made it up. But it's not being reported. This is a level of it's beyond gaslighting. It is gaslighting, but this is like Nazi propaganda bullshit. This is like Putin saying the Ukrainians are actually Nazis stuff. It's
genocide. It's genocide lighting because he has not said the G word. And no one's, allowed to say that about Palestinian people whose entire lives have been destroyed and property has been destroyed for how long now? But he's going to say it about white South Africans where there's no evidence of genocide in any way that fits the definition. Now he's saying it's like just to trigger us.
But there's a dangerous game being played, right?
Always.
Now we're full on we've always been a white supremacist country. We never stopped. Jim Crow ending was a joke, whatever. It's always been a white supremacist country. That's how Dean and I met. Dean and I met to combat the
white supremacist club
against Muslims and Arabs, and they were being violent, and they were actually registering Muslims. They were registering us and disappearing us in 2003. But this country is now overtly supremacist. It's overtly violent, and it overtly advocates the killing of children. So when you talk about the juxtaposition of we're going to save this group while deporting that group, it's all by design. And the design is supremacists can do whatever they want, whether they're Modi and Hindi, so it doesn't have to be white.
Sure, right.
They're Trump and Stephen Miller, who are two people who the Klan doesn't like Jewish people, Stephen Miller, but these two supremacists are, two peas in a panty because they all want the same thing, which is supremacy. The problem is what Reem said. Supremacists are worthless at fucking working, and they can't breed because when you have that much hate, you don't have any passion. The reason people in Gaza are having babies left and right, and the rest of us need IVF for 27 months to get half of an Elon baby, is because supremacists suck at sucking. They're not good in bed. Nobody wants to fuck a hateful supremacist.
I don't know.
They have no children. And that's why in Gaza, we continue to have kids. And they say, oh, it can't be a genocide. You guys are breeding. No, we're starving and we're still breeding because we'll always be better than you.
I'll just say it's anecdotal. I had sex with one white supremacist, and my mind was blown. Yeah,
it was very good, or
it was amazing. Yeah,
and you left the gender out on purpose. I'm not even going to question what's going on. Whatever's happening, you're free to do what you like now. So, Reem, have you ever dated a white supremacist at any time?
No, but when Pete was talking about a white supremacist, I just thought of like a dominatrix, but I was like, well, she probably wouldn't wear black latex because that's too antithetical. or he or she or they. Yeah.
Would wear
I mean, it seems more with the motif.
Well, to that very point, birth rate's down, and philosopher king and sage Kid Rock was on Fox News. And Kid Rock said, and I'll read what he said. I'm not kidding.
like this.
He said, America's suffering a low birth rate because, quote, no guy wants to sleep with ugly ass, broke, crazy, deranged, TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, liberal women. So that's it. So Kid Rock figured it out because he's a genius that nobody wants to sleep with ugly ass, broke, crazy, deranged, Trump derangement syndrome, liberal women. He goes, you look at the rallies, it's like a bunch of women that no guy wants to sleep with and a bunch of dudes that want to sleep with each other. And I'm like, You are such an insightful piece of garbage. Aren't you? Like, so then why aren't they making a lot of babies on the right? Because it could be the incels of the right that don't. So look, Maysoon, you seem worked up about this. What do you think? Do you know any ugly ass, broke, crazy, deranged
I hate to
TDS?
tell it to Kid Rock. Yeah, they're ugly ass. I get disappointed when I look at the rallies. We're not the best looking people. I've seen it. It's fine.
We're smart. We're smart.
We're smart.
We're jumble. We're very
We're
good.
a little bit distracted, a little bit aged from the constant slaughter of children on our, website. So we put on a pink hat, whatever. Listen, Kid Rock left out the point that these people that are, getting married to each other in same sex are having like so many more kids than the hetero couples on his side. So, okay, yes, we have incels who can't seem to impregnate anyone without like a ton of money. But also, like, again, I know all of these couples that they're talking about, they all have kids. The ugly liberal woman, she implanted herself and has kids without a husband, doesn't even know who the father is, doesn't even know if they're human. The guys, they're having kids with each other. So even if we're ugly and we like same-sex marriages, we're still outbreeding you. You still are unfuckable.
That's so. Reem, why do you think the birth rate in America is low? Is it because of ugly ass, broke, crazy, deranged TDS liberal women? Or there might be something else going on in our society where things are really expensive.
Premises.
Right. And everybody's putting off milestones in life, including having children because they can't afford anything because of inflation under Donald Trump.
I think that the whole birth rate being down in America is fake news, because if you refer to my Instagram feed, I feel like everyone's getting married and having babies right now. So this just can't be true. It's just per my friend group, this just like can't be true.
Is your friend group white?
Yes. So,
so your friend group is white and they're pumping out babies left and right.
Listen, I may or may not be the token friend. It's not my fault. It just happened that way. But also, I feel like the cost of everything in America, it's too expensive. Like I actually have conversations with my friends at this point in time. It is too expensive to have kids in America. There was a TikTok video I watched the other day where this woman was just like going over her hospital bill, and she's like, okay, I have insurance, and it was like 40 grand or something. She was like, this was the cost. On that hospital bill, they even charged the baby. The baby who was just born had a bill or an amount that he owed the hospital, which is insane. Even after insurance, it was like still like 10,000 or something. Who has that money?
So it's too expensive to have a child. It's too expensive to have an appetizer. Like
Well,
I go to a restaurant, we just sit there. I know.
Child, people are out of your minds. Poor people are having 5 to 6 kids a week. My neighbor has like 9 different levels. They all look 1 year apart. Only people, again, with degrees sit there and calculate how much a baby's going to cost. You can have a baby for free. Put your legs up in your house and squeeze. We got
That's not fair. I'm offended for a lot of reasons.
True.
By her leg? I was offended by her leg.
Well, I mean, if we want to be, I'm not going to be too serious about birth rates, but we all know about birth rates as they correspond to socioeconomic factors. But let me move on to the larger point, which is, I mean, I think he makes a lot of good points, Kid Rock here. He says that liberal women are unattractive or they're gay men. And I'm just going to say, I've been to several of my local indivisible meetings.
And it's a dating bonanza?
Over 80, first of all. Let me just say, no one's getting pregnant. Number one. Number two, Kid Rock, just him, his skin is really atrophied, I gotta say. I don't know if you noticed that or not. He
doesn't look well.
But he looks like Smeagol, like from Lord of the Rings. He is an unattractive guy. So it always irks the hell out of me when people, I think I'm a 6.
Out of 20?
No, you're a 9.
You're
a 9.
You're a 9 out of 50.
It bothers me when 3s and 4s, even if they're rich and famous, criticize other people's looks. It really, so he should just never say anything about the way somebody looks. The entire thing obviously is preposterous, and the Trump administration luckily is offering $5,000 to new moms. So that will cover not even half of the delivery, as we just noted. I mean,
Elon Musk is doing his best to just have babies with any woman he meets, gives them money, slides in their DMs, and they slide back a baby, and then they have to be quiet about it. Like, I don't know he is the creepiest guy. Elon Musk, he might be AI. I think he's sent by Skynet. I'm pretty sure he was sent to
What baby is he on right now? Because he had X.
We don't even know. He's got a colony. He's got a colony in Austin.
Publicly reported it's like 14, but that's the point. Like, there might be dozens more. And I'm trying to get, my daughters are 20 and 17, so I'm trying to connect them with Elon, because you get like $1 million for a year or something.
The dad gets money too, or you would work yourself into the
benefit,
deal?
I'm sure.
Would you
get a window unit for an air AC?
Would you work your way into the deal? Like, look, here's my daughter, but we got to talk. All right, you know, I like Pete is very pragmatic about it.
I was 28. I would have had a kid with Elon Musk.
See?
I wouldn't think twice about it.
She's no better than anybody else, Maysoon.
What?
Maysoon's no better than anybody else. She'll take.
She never claimed to be better.
I would totally take it, no doubt.
Reem, if Elon Musk slid into your DMs and offered $1 million for you to have a child and pay $1 million a year,
Listen, if he wants to gift me a plane first, I'm down. I'm all about it.
Back to the Qatari plane, Dean. It just
all right, we're taking.
The white men can't compete with Arab men. They never will be able to.
No, those planes, they have bigger planes. You see, the Arab planes are very large planes.
They're very right. Yeah. He's like, we have a small plane. It's so embarrassing. All right, let's take a break and come back and talk about Donald Trump's daughter has an Arab baby. Yeah. And CNN's Jake Tapper broke a story. Unbelievable. I don't want to ruin it, but Joe Biden was old. And that, thank God Jake Tapper's writing a book about that, because no one talked about it in 23 or 24. So it's so important. Let's take a break and come right back with more of the Dean Obeidallah Show right after this. And welcome back, Dean Obeidallah Show. All three people stayed. Reem Edan, Maysoon Zayid, and Pete Dominick. So Donald Trump's got an Arab baby in the family. This is true. Tiffany, who's very white, she hooked up with an Arab man, Michael Boulos, whose dad's a Lebanese-born businessman, very rich guy, and they have a baby, Alexander Trump Boulos. Like, the middle name is Trump. I'm like, that's not going to age well. I got to be honest with you. That's like your middle name is Adolf. Like, nah, well, maybe it was a good idea in 1933's Germany, but not in the long term. It wasn't a good idea. So they have an Arab baby in the family, and Donald Trump is so proud. Maysoon, I've got to go to you on this. Does an Arab baby in the family? What do you think of the Arab baby now in the family? And they should name him Muhammad or Mahmoud or something.
Dean. The second one. First of all, I was going to bring this up in the first quarter of the show. He plays both sides. Ivanka is married to someone whose father started a settlement. For God's sakes. Yes, she built a settlement eating land I know of very well. And then Tiffany married an Arab. So again, he's playing both sides of this. The Arab child gonna be more attractive than the other grandchildren, but these people are grifters, and the Boulos family is super rich, and it's a mutual grift. It's not like, oh wow, she shunned her family and she married an Arab Muslim. No, she married a super rich Arab who is Christian. So,
I don't think there's anything wrong with the kind of parenting that he's done here, because it's not about the ethnic background. He's like me. I've told both my daughters, I don't care about character, personality, sensitivity, generosity, kindness, or humor. What is he worth?
Yeah,
I like that, because you're a pragmatic dad.
Oh my God, Pete, are you Arab?
He is. He's a quarter Lebanese. He's in the Boulos family. So, but by the way, so Maysoon, to get this,
I'm being up to her. I want to be friends with Tiffany. I want to be friends with someone. Listen, again, the future of America is gone. It's really fun watching all this stuff. But there's not going to be elections. There's not going to be.
This is Game of Thrones, right? So the marriage is by convenience. Like, you got to marry the Prince of Lebanon.
Protect me.
You want Tiffany to.
I just imagined America circling the drain, and there's Maysoon circling down the drain, and she's just latching on to any asshole possible as we go right through. She's selling out.
Pete, Dean will tell you, I've been out of this country for 3 years. I've moved all of my operations to the Middle East. The only reason I come back is to hang out with Dean 4 times a year to make the funny, and occasionally walk around the block with my mom. Otherwise, this country's already down the drain. And I already told people, as I hijack Dean's show like a Qatari palace in the air, this country is dead. The empire has fallen.
How dare you?
Country in the Middle East, and I've already planted my little seeds there. I do comedy in the Emirates, in Qatar, in Kuwait, in Arabic, in Palestine. This country is already gone. Joe Biden gave it away. He said, bye-bye, I'm taking down the bail.
I think Trump played a big role.
I feel like a bunch of Air Force jets just flew over while She's giving that
I'll be
inspiration.
producing the festival this year alone, clearly,
No,
because Maysoon will
you
be
don't get
not
to
allowed
kick
back
me
in the
out.
country.
I can't wait till they replay this for
Y'all
you.
kicked us
Reem,
out. You're gonna kick me out too.
No, I'm not going to kick you out. You're not going to get back in the country. And Reem, you'll get more spots because Maysoon's out of the country. So we'll need, it's good for you. As a comedian, you have to think that quickly, like, oh, so if that happens, that person, at least I'll get more stage time. So Reem, do you think, is there an Iraqi prince or princess that can marry into the Trump family? Is there someone over there? Could you be the Iraqi princess that
Absolutely.
I
marries
just feel
into the
like
Trumpers?
this entire show has been you guys trying to marry me into the White House at some point, which, like,
You don't
as
have
I
to
have said,
Worth-
I am absolutely open to this idea. Please, like, whatever I can do to stay in the country.
Get a nice Instagram following, I think.
And from exactly, and from what I've heard, I don't have to have kids. Like, I'm in. Sign me up wherever
I
you
don't
need
know
to
who
do it.
told you that. I don't know who told you
Yeah.
that.
Pete, you doing, when you do comedy now and you do stand up regularly, right? That's how you're doing it regularly again?
I'm partially retired, but go ahead.
Are you partially retired?
No, go ahead.
Do you do the Trump jokes and stuff like that in the regular comedy clubs? I'm just wondering how people like respond now.
Sure.
I just do spots in the city, you know, like once a week I do a spot in New York Comedy Club, but it's like an early show and the people, I do shows like at brunch. The older I get, the earlier show. I'm like, do you have a brunch show? I will do the brunch show. Like, this is how I don't have to be, the sun could be up. I'll do comedy and get home by 6. I'm happy. I have dinner, sleep by 9. Life is great. No, but today, just so you know, this is true. The Consumer Sentiment Report came out, University of Michigan. It was the second lowest on record. That's completely true. The other time it was that bad was during the beginning of the pandemic when people were freaking out. So my point is, something is out there in society, in America, where people are freaking out and inflation's playing a role, but they're beginning to worry about their jobs. And I was just wondering if you're going out outside of New York to any comedy clubs and what you're seeing in terms of the economics of it, because that is an indicator. Now, ask Reem next. I know you travel.
People, I have done a fair bit of traveling. I talk to people all over the country, and I don't think people are seeing the kind of pain that they're going to see within the year, probably economically and in other ways as well. I mean, there's so much concern in the air that any incumbent is going to get hurt by it for a lot of different reasons. But certainly, yeah, I mean, I think that the tide is turning. I mean, I'll just say this. I live in New York 17, Mike Lawler's district, and I was at the town hall where 100 other people where he got booed, and my friend Emily Feiner got carried out by state police. Like, there were hundreds of, over 700 people came out. And I mean, I couldn't get them to come to any of my gigs.
Reem, I call them the comedic indicators. Like, there's the economic indicators and comedic. And there's a point where people are worried, so they stop spending money and they don't go to comedy. Then there's a point, if we're in a recession, they might pool their money and go to comedy because they need it. Although today, now you have Netflix and Amazon Prime. You can stay home and watch stuff a lot easier. But Reem, as you're traveling around the country doing gigs, are you seeing anything either way? Strong economy, weakening, middle?
In terms, you mean in terms of people showing up to shows and how much disposable income they have?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, being super popular, like, I'm not affected. But if I were to guess, no. It's kind of hit or miss. I am hearing that a lot, especially with like the whole 2-drink minimum thing, because people can allot certain amount of money to like come to your show, but then comes like the childcare, and then comes the drinks, and then comes the parking. Even when I go to like work remote at a coffee shop, I'm not just factoring in the price of my like $8 latte. I'm like, okay, now I have to pay the meter, and the meter's more expensive. There's just so much. So I feel like people are retracting. It's a moment where we're making, unfortunately having to make more constrictor financial decisions, and it's across the board. And I like, when I travel internationally and nationally, domestically, I like to talk to people, Uber drivers, grocery store, I like to see, if how they're doing and what they think. And it seems like everyone is struggling. Truly, everyone is struggling.
The pilot of your private jet, did you talk to that person about struggling?
Oh, Ahmed. Oh yeah. He's doing okay, but he's different.
That's very good. So, and Maysoon, you were in the Middle East, but you're back now. What are you seeing? Anything yet?
What I'm seeing from my blue collar New Jersey friends is they're dying. They're dying. Not
Really?
at the level that Gaza is, but the amount of suffering that I'm seeing around me is incredible. Like, nobody can afford college whatsoever. Bergen Community College isn't even affordable.
Wow. That's where I'm from, Paramus. That town
is crazy. People are driving to Pennsylvania to the Amish farms to buy their food from the Amish farms because it's too expensive here. And then, it wouldn't be me on Dean's show if I didn't talk about the disability community is not just terrified, they're really suffering. SNAP is being cut. Medicaid is being cut. The nutritional resources, they just cut like $300 billion of nutritional assistance. They cut heating assistance. These are all the things that the disability community depends on. So are we the ones that flood the theaters and, you know, fill up the comedy clubs? Maybe not necessarily, but we did have a ton of disposable income. We had, like, you know, the buying power of China up until a little while ago. And now the disability community is like, we're going to lose our insurance. We're going to lose our sustenance. We're going to lose our care. We're not going to be able to afford anything. And you know, Dean, that like in my case, okay, yes, I'm a Palestinian. So I had a year of my work wiped out just for being Palestinian, because bigotry and discrimination are okay now. So as we're watching Trump fire hundreds of thousands of people from wherever the government and whatever Elon Musk decides, and the jobs report no longer matters. We no longer know if jobs are up or jobs are down. At the same time, people like me or women or disabled people or trans people can get fired and have no recourse. We no longer have any recourse. There's nothing that we can do to fight back. So when we lose our livelihood, like say I did in April of last year, I also lost my health insurance. When you lose your job, you lose your health insurance. I picked up $1,000 insurance bill. I pay $1,000 every single month for health insurance plus copays. Who else in America can do that? And when you put someone like me on the marketplace, it doesn't cover any of the medications that keep me alive. I'm dead in 6 months without paying $1,000. So we live in a country where people right now are deciding, is my kid going to go to college? Am I going to eat? Am I going to have a house? And the debt that they put us all in during COVID. They told people, you can postpone your rent, you can postpone your car payments. And they forgot to tell them, when it's done, you're going to owe 3 years.
Yeah, and student loans, same thing. And I agree. So I want to touch on for a second here, though. And I think I had, by the way, I had Steve Way on and Zoe from Autistic Advocacy to talk about the concerns about Medicaid and the cuts and the real world impact it would have on them. And I know you know Steve Way. So
but the thing, the rich people are super rich. I'm getting corporate gigs and they're paying more than they ever paid in their lives. I'm going to these banquets. They're, you know, giving hundreds of thousands of dollars to these charities like
oh my God. I so hope you get deported now so I can get these gigs.
Who books
this sounds great.
And you hope
exactly.
I get deported. I have no country to be deported to.
All right, then just kept out of the country. Look, you'll do great in Canada. You're resilient. You're a tough one. You can start over. I'm going to take these gigs.
Did I mention I'm now Palestinian and I just acquired cerebral palsy?
I actually got 3 gigs for Arab American Heritage Month, and I never get gigs. 2 at a big law firms, and because they're like, we're doing DEI, F Trump, and they were making a statement. It was kind of, I'm like, okay, I'm so happy to speak at your place. So, all right, we got a couple of stuff. I wanted to get your, I mean, Pete, I'll go to you for a second. The corporate media now, and I should say CNN and Fox News especially, going crazy with the new Jake Tapper book with the guy from Axios, that there was a cover-up of Joe Biden and that people didn't know he was old and that his cognitive decline, no one talked about it. Yet in reality, Media Matters did a great thing last year showing how it was reported nonstop. Like 3 times a time, they would 3 times more touch on it with Biden than Trump. But to me, I don't get it. Is this just about selling a book? There's so much Trump is doing that is truly a threat to our democracy. And to go backwards with a Biden book, my bigger takeaway is that it's going to make even more people on the left not trust corporate media. And then there's no one left trusting corporate media, to be honest.
But her emails.
Yeah, I mean,
it's really, it's really disappointing. It's sad. It's angering, given the fact that I think a lot of the way of a producer, I put my producer hat on a lot. I got 1 hour of my cable news show, or I've got 20 some minutes of my network news, whatever it might be, broadcast. And when I think about is editorially, we should be reporting on the issues that are most impactful on people's lives, not Puffy's Diddy's trial. I used to call, I've known him for a while, not Job, this book, and not other things that are frivolous. And so there's so much happening right now to cover and discuss that we're overwhelmed by all of it. So bring on experts and analysts and talk about those issues. But this is ridiculous. It's, Joe Biden deserves all the grief and criticism just for choosing to run again. I mean, just start there, forget about, and then forget about, this was an exceptional, situation that you had Trump running again. And I would have carried that scandal out myself if I worked in the administration, if I thought it would protect anybody but Donald Trump. I don't care if it was a dead man. I don't care who it was. It could be a Cub Scout leader. Anybody but Donald Trump is the way I always saw it. And it's absurd.
And instead of talking about things that they should be, like Maysoon raising about Medicaid cuts are going to be a cut to a lifeline of people. This is real life happening right now. But every segment on, did they cover up Joe Biden? We all knew he was old. We all knew he had problems. There was so much about Joe Biden. Like
all the misinformation coming out of Health and Human Services. There's so many stories to cover that are so important for the public's interest. This ain't one of them. So, all right, I want to give a chance for everyone to plug their stuff. Reem, let's start with you. Where can people follow you? I know you have a huge following. You have your private jet and all, but where can they follow?
I'm on all the socials at Reem Edan, Remedan, and I'm doing a tour later this summer and fall. So going to be announcing it very soon. Check on my socials for that.
Across the U.S.?
Across the U.S.
That's great. Yeah. Maysoon, what about you, my friend? Where can people find you?
Maysoon.com, like the month of May is coming soon, Maysoon.com. I'll be in Albania, June 15th to the 18th. I'll be at Joe's Pub doing my big disability talk show for Pride Disco on June 22nd. And then I'll be in Ramallah in Palestine on July 17th if they haven't wiped it completely off the map, inshallah.
Are you going to be there a long time in Palestine again?
I'll go for another month. I just got back from being there a month. I'm focusing on trying to figure out what we're going to do with girls 10 to 17 who have lost limbs, because of course, this is a mass disabling event that we're using our US tax dollars to tear the limbs off people. And we need to make sure that girls are not trafficked and that they ease into menstruation after having lost
I'm
limbs.
against that.
Are you against menstruation?
No, he's against all those bad things. I just want you to know that I'm with you and against.
He's on your side. He's one of the good ones. So Pete's one of those male allies. Pete, where can people follow your great work?
Please, for the love of all that's sacred, the amount of time I put into producing my daily podcasts with amazing guests, which I'd love to have both the women on soon that are joining us specifically just to talk about your recent trips to Iraq and Gaza, Palestine. But please listen to it. I do an amazing award-winning. I got an award in my living room the other night.
Congratulations!
Daily podcast, Stand Up with Pete Dominick, wherever you get your podcasts.
Please do. It is a great podcast. I've watched many clips. I've been on the show.
You want to see the award?
You have an award with you? We can't. This is radio, Pete. People can see it. I want to thank all three of you. We're all great. I really appreciate